So we've got an interesting thing going on. As I was thinking about tonight and gathering together, a couple of images came to mind. One was the movie Gladiator. And I haven't seen Gladiator for a long time, but there was who has seen the movie Gladiator? Put up your hand if you've seen the movie Gladiator.
Well, once a year.
Yeah, but once a year.
Yeah,
Okay,
how
there we
many
go.
times have you seen
And
this?
we'll have to watch it sometime.
Yeah.
But in the movie Gladiator, what's the main character's name?
Maximus.
Maximus, thank you very much. See, it's been a while. So Maximus is trying to rally the people together that are in slavery, that are in the Colosseum, and they're going to get annihilated if they all go their separate directions. So it's just this theme in the movie where he's trying to get all of these little guys to stay together and to keep them unified and focused so they can win in the big Colosseum. And I was thinking about what we do here. We are all over the place. We're doing the long road, not just pandemic wise, but in following Jesus. And it's kind of that image of Maximus speaking into these slaves in Gladiator, helping them to stay united, stay focused. And that's part of what we're doing. We want to encourage one another, spur one another on to hearing God and doing what God's, to hear and obey God. So may that be an image for us. And the other image that came to mind especially reflection on who's going to be sharing tonight is the book of Acts. In the book of Acts, we have these followers of Jesus, and it's a big narrative. They're scattered all over the place. There's shipwrecks, there's persecution, there's imprisonments, there's lying, there's all kinds of things going on. And but it's all about joining Jesus on his mission and the crazy adventures they get into. So tonight, we are actually going to have our Impact students, wave, please. Yeah. So they're going to be sharing tonight about their adventure, about joining Jesus on his mission. But it's also, we want to pray for them. We want to encourage them. We are all in different places, but we are going to join them tonight. So we're going to hear about them on mission and all the craziness of why they're doing what they're doing. But we get to join them. Okay? We get to join them. And you read the book of Acts, when all of God's people came together and prayed and focused, come on, the ground shook. People were set free from prison. And so we are joining you Impact students tonight in prayer. So I'm going to give it over to you. So Impact students, let us know what's going on. And so we're joining you tonight, and the Minnesota group, when they watch, they're going to be joining us as well and praying for you and joining you in mission. Okay, so let's give it over to the Impact students. Welcome. Typically they're in another part of the world, but right now they are thousands of meters away from CLBI right now. So 150,000 meters away from CLBI. So take it away.
Do I unmute it or?
Yes, you're good.
Oh, hello everybody. My name is Leif. I'm one of the 8 students, part of the Impact that's part of the Impact program. And yeah, I'm going to start off by kind of giving everyone a rundown of what our main big outreach projects have been. Our first part of Impact and this part of Impact. So for our first 2 weeks of Impact back in November, we had the awesome privilege of getting to go to Pines Bible Camp in Grand Forks, BC, where we stayed for 2 weeks. And our main big project there was we worked for the 2 weeks making Advent calendars to send into the communities that BC Mission Boat reaches. So we spent days cutting felt, gluing felt, making wise men staffs, camels, baby Jesus, Mary, and then putting it all together. It might sound like a small job, but it was actually quite a big job. I think if I remember correctly, we had like 45 like bottles of craft glue that we used and like hundreds of glue sticks. So there was a lot of gluing and stuff. And in all, I think we ended up making just over 250 Advent calendars to send into the households of the Indigenous communities. So yeah, that was our big first project. Now fast forward to these 2 weeks. We're over just past Sylvan Lake at Kuriakis Bible Camp. We're staying in Dana Lodge for these couple of weeks, and our main project these weeks is filming kind of planning Sunday school videos for those same communities. I think we're doing 12 weeks of Sunday school videos to send into the village, into the communities. Yeah, I think we're doing it off of an organization called Simply Loved. So this includes like filming Bible stories, skits, worship, putting together craft bundles and stuff like that. So we've just kind of got started on the past couple of days, but yeah, that's basically what we're doing, just a framework so you guys all have a understanding of that. So, and our work project, we're kind of working with Camp Kuriakis. We're helping them install sound paneling in their gym just to make it a little easier to hear and stuff. So yeah, I think that's all I got to say.
Hey everyone, I'm Rhonda. I just wanted to share a bit about the impact the kids had in our communities. So I traveled with all of the Advent calendars up and dropped them off in safe drop-off points. And so originally we were going to make them for the families. And then when I contacted the communities, they asked if we could make one for every household. And so it was really amazing to get the nativity and the story of Jesus's birth into every single household in all 4 communities that we serve. When we decided to do this online Sunday school, I contacted the communities again, and it was neat because we don't get to see the impact of those Advent calendars because we can't be in the community, but we got to see some pictures, and then some of the leaders in the community shared how much it got used by people and how it encouraged them. And so that was really exciting to hear. And then we talked about doing online Sunday school. And so I'm really excited because I think this is something that can continue past this time and in the fall. So it's an added thing we can do for our ministries moving forward and getting other volunteers and teams to help us with that. We're not only sending it to the 4 communities that we currently serve, but there's 3 other communities that we had talked about going into last summer because we had more teams and we can't physically go in there, but I was able to get a hold of them. And so we're going to be sending the Sunday school kits into even more communities to encourage them and support them in their faith until we can get there in person again. So that's a little bit about the impact of what we're doing for the communities.
Can you hear me okay? Okay, cool. So I'm just going to talk about a little bit of what it's like to live in a bit of a smaller community, even compared to CLBI. So one of the things that really shifts between when you get into a smaller community is just how you're doing in a day. We're living in tight quarters, and how you behave around people is noticed and taken note of. So if you're not having a great day, it's very easy for people to notice and check in with you. We share Devo times at the start and at the end of our day. And because it's a smaller group, more people get a chance to speak, making it just a little bit more personal and giving everybody a little bit more of a voice. When it comes to the cooking, we all share. We all take turns cooking for each other and eating dinner together every night. So it feels a little bit more like a family routine. And sorry, I made notes. Yeah. And I guess the last thing to really touch on is, as part of the impact trip, we are working on the same things in a day. So when it comes to the project that Rhonda talked about, we all have our individual roles, but we're all working towards the same end goal. So there's a lot of teamwork, a lot of communication, and we're all thinking about and talking about the same project in a day. And when we're volunteering with the camp and helping them put stuff together, it's the same thing. So it's just a little bit more of life, even more together. And so it's good. It has its tough spots, but overall, it's a really good experience.
Yeah, and since we're so close and basically a family, and yeah, we're in Oikos, a lot of the times spiritual warfare seems to be something that most commonly affects us when we're like isolated and on our own. For example, before the trip, a lot of us were just facing a lot of discouragement, I guess, and not really understanding why God called us to do the work we were doing in a time like this, and also just facing a lot of anxiety and yeah, just frustrations about the trip. And then there was one night where we were all just feeling really off, so we met up in the prayer chapel and just prayed together, and it was really cool to see how all of us were being affected individually, but then as soon as we were together as a group and discussing everything, so many things just seemed so less big. And it was just really cool to see how, yeah, when we were alone, we seemed so vulnerable, but then when we were together, yeah, everything just seemed so much more tolerable. And yeah, it's just really powerful, I think. And just the community and closeness that we've been able to live in, I guess, has been really cool. And yeah, God's been growing us a lot, and spiritual warfare is still definitely very much a thing, but it's nice to have a group to go to and just yeah, talk together and bring encouragement and deal with it together instead of by ourselves. So that's been really neat. And yeah, we've really been enjoying living life as an Oikos.
Yeah. Yeah. That is our life together as an Oikos currently. And for some prayer requests over the next couple of weeks for us as a team. We got some smaller ones, or like they're still as important, but like, you know, that our technology works and that internet works, because we still need to connect to the internet and zoom into things like this or edit and things like that. That works, that we, you know, sleep well and rest, because this is a tall order, but at the same time we want to be living in God as our center. And some bigger ones, some of our health isn't 100%. We've got a couple head injuries. Some sinuses are clogged. You know, not living in Alberta all the time. Who wouldn't want to live in Alberta all the time? As well as that we don't fear being alone. In regards to what Siri had mentioned, you know, we tend to be the most vulnerable while we're alone, but that can discourage us to be alone. But as we're alone, we can also still connect with God. And so if we avoid that time alone, we also lose a piece of our time to build our relationship with our Creator. As well as we shouldn't be living in fear, right? God is bigger than all of that. But a supporting community like this, praying for that really does go a long way. Yeah, I think that's all we got as a team. So I'll throw it back over to those hosts.
Great, thanks, guys. Oh, Dean, do you got something?
Sorry, I thought it was muted. There we go. Question. So is the sauna working? Okay, that's good. Cool. At least you got some fun going on at the camp.
Cool.
That's the only thing I had to say. So
Wow, that's great.
back to you, Mackenzie.
All right. With that, I think I'll just get somebody random to pray for them. Brant, can you please pray for the impact group before we send everybody off into their little D groups?
Yeah, you bet. Dear Lord, we thank you for technology, for the opportunity to gather together tonight in community, even though we're all very vastly scattered across the prairies and the world. I thank you for handpicking this impact team, Lord. I pray that you would empower them to do your work and to do it cheerfully and well, Lord, that they would find joy in their daily activities, Lord, and that they would get the satisfaction that comes from doing your work, Lord, and that they would be proud of the things they do, Lord, that it would be something they'd be willing to put their name on and be excited to tell other people about. I pray for their health and pray that you would be constantly walking with them, both physically and spiritually during this more unsettling time. Yeah, I pray that you'd provide them with rest and with technology that is able to keep them connected and yeah, keep us updated with things like this. We pray all this in your precious and holy name. Amen.